establishment in town that can't kick him out. His own basement. The world according to Rocket.
Yeah. It's 6 o'clock. Somewhere. At least it is down here in Florida. How y'all doing? Thank you for being here. It is I, Rocket Man. My pronouns today are Diet Coke and Zephyr Hills. Those are my pronouns today. Whatever. Stingray is here tonight, and he asked me a question right before we came on the air. How is it going down there in the Sunshine State? Well, I have interesting news, which I will share with you in a tiny little bit. I'll give you a tease that I might be moving again. Hey, Nick Graybill. Not a new intro. It was kind of like an old intro, really. It's the one I used to use when I had my mainstream podcast, The World According to Rocket, and then it kind of morphed into this, whatever this is, this Tennessee channel. And so on my OBS, I have it, I have that open on my OBS, and I probably am going to have to turn on some more light. Hang on just a second. Got down there and I couldn't get back up. What the hell? There we go. Working in close quarters. Now that's too much, isn't it? Hang on. That should be about right. Yeah, still a real hot spot on my forehead, but such is life. Man, are y'all still high over? You're still high over the win on Saturday night? That was such a great win, and what was even greater was Spencer Rattler's comment. Super Bowl comment about at his press conference. I don't know why they have 20-year-old kids, 21-year-old kids, put them in front of a microphone, because, man, they say some freaking stupid stuff. He was asked, did you hear what they were calling you? Did you hear? Were you aware of how they were throwing hate at you and yada, yada? He says, well, it was their Super Bowl. They earned it, sort of thing. Yeah, it was our Super Bowl. I forget who the player was who commented, and he commented perfectly. Warren, number 87, was asked about Rattler's comment, and he said, well, they rushed the field last year when they beat Tennessee, which was highly unusual. And he said, I suppose that was their Super Bowl last year. Yeah, he killed that. Hang on. I don't know what's going on here. Well, I'll tell you what's going on. What's going on is I have a big giant window up there behind me, and the sun is kind of doing this, and so my key light doesn't know what to do. You're right, Nick. Our fans are like that every game, right? And I got to tell you, with the exception of Brew, getting so severely injured, I'm so happy. I feel totally and fully vindicated, right? Now, I did 2 shows last week on this. The second one that I did kind of reiterated or got more specific about what we needed to do. It was called the 3 things we needed to do, and the 3 things we needed to do was run the football, run, Forrest, run. The second thing is we needed to create that pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. It takes that coal and it squeezes them into diamonds and sacks. And I predicted last week we would have 5 to 6 sacks because they can't keep the backfield clean. They can't keep that pocket clean, and we got them. Hey, Tom Roddy, new listener, like your channel. I like your takes and your presentation. Tom, that's very nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you'll find this group of people, everybody say hello to Tom, that you are, you're welcome, and it's a good bunch of folks in here. And quite knowledgeable. I'm probably the least knowledgeable of them all. I'm just good at yakking. And so we had Run, Forrest, Run. We had Make the Diamonds and Sack 'em. And we had the monster. Remember the monster? I was pissed off on that video because every time the monster would come up, and it really did kind of go, ooh, kind of scare you when it came up. But that's when they chose to put a commercial, right when that thing was popping up, right? And I was so annoyed. I should be annoyed. I get paid when they run a commercial, but it really annoyed me. But those were the 3 things: run, Forrest, run, get the sacks, and the green monster. Man, they were just amazing. The fans were amazing at that game. And we all knew they would be. I mean, they were just brutal. I don't know. I wish I'd have seen that. I should have grabbed that picture. There was a picture of some yin yang from South Carolina. Big old fat grumpy old fella. With his overalls down to his ankle and his old tidy whities. Standing here in the stands, getting arrested. Sick chickens, baby, sick chickens. Zachary Whitfield, how you doing, bro? Appreciate you being here. He says, my weekend was great. Tennessee won. Braves are the number 1 seed. Bolts won. Bucks won. So I had a great weekend. This is a perfect segue for what I'm about to share with you. And you're right, Zachary. Rattlesnake lost his Super Bowl, apparently. Yeah, man. And let me just say this. Not that I haven't been from day one, because you've listened. I always have been. But I am so deeply in on Hypo at this point that I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. And the ride is going to be bumpy. The ride is going to be bumpy until we get that transition from Joe to Nico, and that's probably going to be next year. Okay, that's probably going to be over the winter and into the spring. But let me tell you, that kid is going to be amazing. He is going to be amazing. But Josh Heupel won that game this weekend. That man coached a masterful game. He really did. And I was so impressed with that. I'm happy to see that Heupel and Halsley up in the booth, they're starting to congeal, starting to come together. And man, you could tell that those guys wanted that win, and there was no way they weren't going to get it. So, boom, thumbs up, victory sign, the win sign. and any kind of other side. Now, Zachary, let me speak to specifically you. Now, I have been working literally on what I'm about to show you since 1998. This is when I started this. When I left terrestrial radio, a lot of people don't know this, but I know this. I have proof if you ever want to hear it. I had the very first live podcast in 1997, as 97, the football season of 97 going into 98. It was a thing called radioplex.com. And I had literally 9 listeners. And they all had a T1 line because you couldn't listen to it on dial-up, right? But what I did was I started handicapping football, and I started studying football and the numbers and whatever. Keep that mustache, Zachary. And Stingray, you're 100% correct. It was a complete football team this past weekend, I'm happy to say. So this is the very microphone and the very mixer that I used to start that podcast, and it was a general podcast. It was basically my morning show online, and I literally, I'm not lying, I had a big buyout on my contract, and so, you know, I just said, you know what, I'm going to go online. This is where this is going to go. And so I did that, and the first thing I did was I started a show called The Ultimate Sports Babe. And there was this girl I knew. She may or may not have been an exotic dancer. I can't remember. That was a long time ago. But she was on the show with me, and whenever I was wrong, whenever the cumulative point game totals, the wins and losses, didn't reach 65% every week, she may have lost some clothing. I don't know. I can't remember. It's fuzzy. It wasn't fuzzy, but it's fuzzy, if you know what I mean. So I've been working on this thing forever. And then as my computer skills got better and better, now I wasn't the babe. She was the babe, Dinkleberry. I was Mr. Big. She was the ultimate sports babe. And it was just like this. It was on camera and everything. It's just we had 9 people because everybody had dial-up at that time. So, yeah. So, long story short, my computer skills got better and better. I learned to code a little bit. And really long story short, I launched it this past weekend. Now, why did you say you launched it this past weekend? Well, what I learned way back then, there was a guy who has a sheet for USA Today. His name is Jeff Sagarin. And he's always been very good, and he's very thorough, a computer geek. And I kind of learned, not from him, but watching him, how he compiles stats and that sort of thing. And 133 football teams, Division I. There are 132, 133. And in week 5 is when the first 4 weeks, they're not connected through play, right? So it's possible that Appalachia State and Boston College may have a common opponent over those 4 weeks, and so that everybody is connected through a common opponent, and therefore all the stats are relevant and are relative. Okay, so that's why you don't do it on that's why you observe the first 4 weeks. But anyway, this is the 5th week. This past weekend, let me show you what happened here. This is the 5th week. Look at this. I hate to toot my own horn, but look at that, 14-1 on the college. On the college games that I chose to go after, and I have my own proprietary decision-making process in that. Mostly it's the SEC, because those are the games that it's the SEC and the top 25. I try not to get below the, top 25 games. But that was this weekend's college. And now, hang on a second. There's more. I'll put it back up if you want to look at it more or grab a screenshot of it. And here's the NFL. So I was 14-1 in college and 13-2 in the NFL. And we are waiting on the Seattle game tonight. They are at -2.5, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to cover that, and they'll probably obviously win that game straight up. And I think that is not only a money line bet, but why expose the money line bet when you can just give the 2.5? So I just had an amazing weekend, Zachary. So I wanted to share that with you. Okay, I wanted to, because y'all my tribe. Now, I was all excited, okay? So I go this very morning, I said, okay, it's launched, it's proven, and let's go. By the way, baseball tomorrow, 5-4 Texas. Just so you know. I go to set up an account to bet so I could start my betting. So back during the day, I would buy my food through betting football. Okay? I had a show like this, and I would sell my picks and that sort of thing. And I made some decent amount of money, but typically I just use it to buy food. If I can make $300 or $400 a week betting football, I know that's a lot of food, but anyway, that's kind of the way I look at it. I go to set up my account to make a bet on tonight's game and tomorrow's baseball games. I can't do it in Florida. What the holy? Are you kidding me? I have never lived in a place where I can't make a bet online because of the state I'm living in. I've either lived in California, New York, Arizona, or Tennessee. What the hell? And now I can't. I spent 20 years developing this thing to where it's pretty successful, and now I can't bet. This is where all the y'all go, oh, Rocket, that is such a bummer. Here, let me give you a super chat for the ease the pain. I know. So somebody asked me, who was it? It was Stingray asked me earlier, said, how's it down in sunny Sunshine State? And I'm going, well, shit, I might be moving. I got to go somewhere where there's a casino. So if y'all have any insight on that, I mean, hell, I just may have to give it up and go to Vegas, The closest place, Nick Grable is saying, they're saving you from yourself. All right. That is a fair enough statement, Nick, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you drawing that to my attention. You need to move back to Big Orange Country. Well, you might be right. You might be 100% correct. I mean, at least I can bet online there, right? At least I can get me a FanDuel account or a BetMGM account like I've always had. I mean, the thought of moving to Biloxi, Mississippi, just so I can make bets live in the casino. I tell you, there's something kind of fun about that. Back when I had the sports betting show back in 98, okay, my attorney his father was a whale. You know what a whale is? A whale is one of those guys that Las Vegas will send a G5 jet, pick you up wherever you are, just to bring you and your entourage out to enjoy the week or the weekend in Vegas, right? Put you up at the MGM or wherever. And I made several trips with those folks. And man, that was fun. Now, I wasn't a huge bettor. I mean, now I did, I'd make a $100, $200 bet on a football game. No doubt. But man, to see this guy at the craps table, with a couple $100,000 in chips in front of him that he's starting out with. God, man, some of those people are nuts. And they have it to throw around. And they did. Stingray, you need to move back to Big Orange? Yep, maybe so. Stingray, don't go to Ole Miss and be a lame Kiffin fan. Do not worry about that. I can't stand him. That ain't happening. And I can't see me going to Mississippi. I just can't do it. Hey, Sean, how are you, sir? Use a VPN. You can appear to be anywhere in the world. Well, I had heard of that. It seemed like I heard somebody talk about that, and they tried it, and it didn't work. Because, see, here's the thing. I don't want to risk getting my money caught up and being discovered, and not being able to get my money out of a sports book. That's the only thing about the VPN. Maybe I'm overthinking that. I don't know. Because they do have to send that money somewhere, right? In order for you to draw that money down, they got to send it somewhere. And they see it's Wells Fargo in Destin, Florida. I'm in trouble. Well, you can't do that. So I don't know what to do. So now you know my dilemma. I'm just gonna put these numbers back up. I want y'all to look at this. Look at that, man. That's pretty awesome. I like that one. Was good stuff. And let's see. There were only 2 or 3 of these that didn't cover, but I typically am a money line guy anyway, unless it's just makes more sense to go against the spread. And then here's the NFL. And for those of you who just got here, we got Seattle is 2.5 -2.5 tonight at the Giants' house, and I feel kind of bad because it's the first time me seeing Jalen Hyatt, with the Giants, and I feel bad betting against him. Hope he does all right. Teddy Strong, hey Rocket, great game. Though my fave Vol went down, man, me too. I can actually say he's my favorite as well. You know that. We've had that conversation before. We finally showed up Saturday. We did. They finally pulled it together, and I credit Heupel for that. It's a mystery and a head scratcher. Why they were not that prepared at Florida. You just scratch your head. And here they go, and they just kick the crap out of South Carolina. And they lose a spot in the AP. Now, the AP is just a bunch of suck wagons. That's all they are. But the coaches bumped them up to 18 anyway, so that's better. I'm assuming they bumped them up. I wasn't aware of what they were at the coaches poll prior to the game on Saturday. But you know what? Look, Missouri and Kentucky both jumped Tennessee. Why? Because we weren't smart enough to win that game at Florida. We'd still be in the top 10. We'd still be close in the hunt. But it's going to take, we need a whole lot of help. And, you know, it's just sad that they went down to Florida as ill-prepared as they were. But anyway, Heupel's my man. I'm very impressed and give him a lot of love and kudos for making that such a big night. They announced today the Texas A&M game, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, is at 3:45, 3:30 Eastern. And I've been looking forward to see what time the Georgia game is. If any of you know, let me know. I don't think, I just looked at it a couple days ago. They hadn't announced when the Georgia game was going to be played. The time, I mean, obviously it's going to be at Neyland. And I'm sure that is, I don't know who will be broadcasting that game. I don't know whether it be CBS, God help us all. God, I can't stand those two guys. Or will it be on ESPN? I don't know. Typically, we play Georgia in the afternoon, right? That's my recollection. Lo, these many years. You know, in the late afternoon, like 3:30, 4, 5, somewhere in there. And then it kind of bleeds into the evening a little bit. I don't know the politics that's involved in making that choice. If I were Georgia, I wouldn't want to come play a night game at Neyland, would you? Nope, you wouldn't. But I don't know whose call that is. I would imagine it's a call between the TV, the broadcast network, whoever's doing it, and then the home team, and then the travel team's got to get some consideration in that as well. So if anybody has any light they can shine on that, please feel free, because I don't know. I feel confident about Texas A&M. I do. I have some confidence about Texas A&M. You know, I think dude, you just made my day. Are you telling me, Sean, that the Georgia game is 7 p.m. on ESPN? Is that what I am to believe? Is that what I am to interpret? That would be that'll be the biggest game this year for anybody. Particularly if, you know what, we're 7-1 or 7-1 going into that game. 8-1 maybe. That'd be the biggest game of the year for everybody. But, you know, it's possible that Georgia may have a loss by then. Yeah, thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. That's good news. Man, that's really good news. I mean, I don't know why or how or if they even have the opportunity to agree to that, right? Georgia, I mean, because I sure wouldn't want to do that. But I'm glad it's their turn in the barrel now, right? So, Hurl, yeah, I love that. What else do I need to know? Y'all enlighten me. Now, so I read something today about obviously Boo Carter. There was a big story about him being out there with Deion Sanders a couple of weeks ago. I think he was at the Colorado State game, I think. And there was talk about, oh, he's going to jump ship. He's going to go to Colorado. And I saw he and that Vigo dude, who was that Vigo lineman, who was at the game this week, and they were conspiring to come together to Tennessee. I was glad to read that story. Cosmos, Tennessee couldn't have a bye week at a better time. Man, this is what bye weeks were made for, was this team right now. Wow. Man, they got to find bruise replacement. They got to get some people healed. And one thing that I learned about this game and about this football team is how important Cooper Mays is to this team. Everybody agree with that? Man. Wow. I mean, he was a stud. Hey, it's not a problem, Cosmos. I only read it once. Sean says the uproar up north is that LSU is 3-2 and still ranked. Maryland is 5-0, still not ranked. Yeah. If you go in, now I think some consideration should be given to strength of schedule and those things on an ongoing basis. But if you're 5-0, you should be ranked ahead of LSU. And I said this from the jump. LSU shouldn't have been in the top 10 ever. There's absolutely no empirical evidence for that ever to have happened, them or Clemson. You know, it's just all bullshit. I mean, it's just a bunch of old fat guys drinking their cocktails thinking they know something. And they never get from behind their desk. Oops, was that a Freudian slip? No. LSU, Clemson, absolutely not. By the same token, I would have been pissed until this past weekend if I were Florida because, you know, we were ranked ahead of Florida and they beat us. But it's a moot point now because they got their butts handed to them, right? Don't worry about your comments, Cosmos. You're good. You're good. And I want to say, I hate this term, but I don't know any other term. I want to give a shout out to James Keith. James Keith was one of the South Carolina guys that was giving us some grief on my channel in the comments. And to his credit, he came back after the game and congratulated me and said, very nice game. And I thought he was the only one. We had a lot of talkers, a lot of keyboard warriors. But he was the only one that came back and said, hey, great game. Good game, guys. And I thought that was really nice of him, and I told him so and wished him luck moving forward. He was not the one, however, who said that Joe Milton should be a tight end. And I went, oh, I never really thought about that. I kind of like that. I thought that was a pretty Intuitive comment. But even Joe did good. James Pierce did terrific. Man, I love that guy. Whew! And Cooper Mays, man, he's just the first gear, isn't he? First gear, that guy. And it just ran so much smoother and faster, right? It did go a little bit faster. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't know what I was talking about. See, I was blaming Joe on that. But that offense ran faster last Saturday. Am I wrong on that? That's what it seemed like to me. It just moved faster. Now, it didn't move as fast as Hendon, but man, it sure seemed like it moved a whole lot faster. Teddy Strong. Cooper's leadership in that OL had obviously been missed, yes, sir. And boy, he was sucking some wind there in that third and fourth quarter, man. He was sucking. And this bye is good for him because now he'll get some much needed rest and some practice, but some much needed rest as well. And yes, I did see that Kentucky beat Florida. Let me fire this back up here. Where is that one? Now, I had it closer than it was, but I had that 24-20 and it ended up being 33-14. I was off a score on either direction, but yeah. Gotta love me some Kentucky beating Florida. Hell yeah. That was terrific. Okay, boys and girls. Hey, we don't got any girls in here tonight. So what are the thoughts on Oklahoma versus Texas and Alabama versus Texas A&M? I won't know until I look at the games. I will do another sheet later in the week with those games. I have just been so fried now that my numbers thing is up and running. That's all I'm doing is doing games, and looking at numbers and now we got baseball started tomorrow. So that's going to be. So typically I get a bunch of numbers done on Thursday morning for the Thursday and Friday games. And then on Friday morning, I do the Saturday games. So, and then on Saturday, I do the Sunday games. So that's kind of my thing. Off the top of my head, where are they playing Oklahoma and Texas? Are they playing in Austin or are they playing at Oklahoma? Yeah, I'm with you, Cosmos. That catch, I've been watching that. I don't know what's the deal with my throat today. I've been watching that one catch of his, when Joe threw it about 125 yards. Love that one catch. That was just a major league catch that he got. So it's at Texas. This is the last time they'll play, isn't it? Well, maybe not, because they're both coming in the SEC, right? They'll probably keep that. I don't know whether that was one of the ones that they kept. You would think that they would keep that one for sure. Right? I think so. But I'll look at them. Hit me up on a message. I'll probably be doing a another live prior to Friday or Saturday. Maybe I'll do a live on Saturday morning. And I'll obviously have those numbers to look at. So, okay, gang, I got to go get me a sandwich so I can watch Seattle give me my 14th winner of the weekend on the NFL. But I would love to see Jalen do well. Does anybody know whether he's starting or not? Anybody? And what the hell happened to Tennessee Titans this weekend? They came out like a screaming banshee. Well, I'll tell you what happened. What's his bucket had number 22 had about 120 or 30 yards, if I recall. Hard to stop that fella. Jeez. Okay, gang. I'm going to sign off, go grab a bite, and get back for the game, and I shall see you guys in the next video. If you need me, you can always just get a hold of me on one of the videos. I get every comment on any of those videos. So if you need to get a hold of me, just send up a smoke signal on one of the videos. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you next time. Adios.